Hello, I'm Annette Young and welcome to the 51%, a show about women reshaping our world. Coming up, activists join Femen members in denouncing a Muslim conference held in a Paris suburb over the role of women and Islam. Also, we meet Carly Fiorina, the sole female Republican presidential hopeful who's taking on Donald Trump. And ground control to Major Maria, Uruguay's first woman Air Force commander. But we begin here in France, where Femen has once again been making headlines, this after two of its members were violently removed from a conference on women and Islam. It had been organised by a conservative Muslim group in a Paris suburb. The women, both of North African origin, jumped onto the stage topless, daubed in slogans including "Nobody makes me submit." The conference had already raised eyebrows, with thousands signing a petition to cancel the event, as its speakers included radical imams known for their extreme views on women. Yuka Roy has more.
It looks like a classic religious fair where people can gather and discuss their faith. But this year's conference sparked an intense controversy over the choice of guest speakers. Some are known for posting fiery sermons on the internet.
Any woman who wears perfume, goes out and lets men smell her scent, will be considered a fornicator in the eyes of God.
She who refuses her husband in bed for no reasons, may the angels curse her all night long.
Thousands of people signed an online petition to cancel the event. A secular watchdog group in the region alerted the local authorities and sent two of its members to check out the speeches.
What we want is for the authorities to make sure that either those radical imams do not take to the stage or that they revise their preachings. We don't want them to have a negative impact on the community or brainwash Muslims in the area.
There were no radical remarks at the actual event. This imam said the controversy was caused by misunderstanding, that the words of some preachers were taken out of context. The event organisers defend their choice.
It's not as if our speakers are on a security watch list. They're not blacklisted by the Interior Ministry. We respect the Republic's rules.
Despite calls from rights groups, the local authority did not step in prior to the event.
We do not ban meetings unless there is an obvious risk to public order, and that's not the case here. This is the third edition of this conference, and there's never been any incident.
The Femen protest marked the first incident. The activist group claims the two women received death threats from the audience while they were on stage.
15 men and just one woman. That's the Republican field of US presidential hopefuls. The sole woman of the group is 61-year-old Carly Fiorina, the former Hewlett-Packard CEO. She recently entered the top 10 in the polls, making her a target for Republican frontrunner Donald Trump. And not surprisingly, there was a feisty exchange between the two at a recent Republican debate, as Katavan Gorgistani reports.
Our founders never intended us to have a professional political class. They believed that citizens and leaders needed to step forward. I'm Carly Fiorina, and I'm running for president.
Carly Fiorina is the only woman in a field of 16 Republican presidential hopefuls and one of only 3 non-politicians, an outsider label she is proud of. The former Hewlett-Packard CEO has staked her reputation on her business career, where she says track records and accomplishments count. Yet her track record during her 6 years as CEO is far from stellar. In 2005, she was fired, with several leading publications calling her one of the worst tech CEOs of all time. Despite never holding an elected office, Fiorina is no stranger to politics. She was an advisor on John McCain's 2008 presidential campaign. 2 years later, she ran for the U.S. Senate in California, winning the Republican nomination, but losing the general election by 10 points. After a strong performance in the undercard Republican debate last month, Fiorina has been surging in the polls, landing her in Donald Trump's line of fire. In an interview with Rolling Stone magazine published last week, he criticized her looks.
Look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president?
The feud took center stage during the second Republican debate.
I think women all over this country heard very clearly what Mr. Trump said.
I think she's got a beautiful face, and I think she's a beautiful woman.
A woman who has turned the tables on Trump, using his attacks to create a full-on campaign ad.
Look at this face. And look at all of your faces. This is the face of a 61-year-old woman I am proud of every year and every wrinkle.
The 61-year-old more than held her own in her first debate among top-tier candidates, but she's still far behind Donald Trump in the polls.
To India now, which, like China, is suffering from a shortage of women. The ratio of women to men has sunk to its lowest point since the country's independence in 1947. Now, a large factor is sex-selective abortions, where boys are prized more than girls. As a result, the shortage of brides is driving an increase in human trafficking, as Claire Williams reports.
10 years ago, Anita left her village nearly 3,000 kilometres away to get married. Her family couldn't afford a dowry, but that wasn't an issue. Her husband came looking for her and paid for the wedding. Originally from southern Kerala, Anita found adjusting to life in Haryana state wasn't easy.
When I first came here, I didn't really like it. I didn't speak the language, so for the first 5 months or so, I really suffered because I couldn't talk to anyone. But then I gradually picked up the language.
Anita's arrival in the village caused quite a stir. Traditionally, young men married local women, whose families tried to offer the best dowries they could afford. But nowadays, more women are following in Anita's footsteps, because there simply aren't enough brides to go round.
In my village, there are at least 250 men of marriageable age, but due to a shortage of women, they cannot get married.
Haryana state has the most imbalanced male-female ratio in India, and it looks set to stay that way. There are only 834 girls to every 1,000 boys under 6 years old.
Men here see themselves as rajas. If a girl is born, it's announced as bad news. But if it's a boy, then people start handing out sweets.
It's illegal for health workers in India to disclose the sex of a fetus. It's a measure that's aimed at stopping prospective parents aborting unborn girls. But underground, illegal prenatal sex determination tests are big business. And with men looking far and wide to find a bride, human traffickers have begun seeking out young women and selling them.
These women have been bought at a price. They don't know anyone close by they can confide in about their problems. The husbands believe they own these women and can treat them however they want.
Records from India's National Crime Bureau show in 2013 nearly 25,000 girls and women were kidnapped and sold into marriage.
And finally, as more and more defence forces open the doors to women, meet Major Maria Eugenia Echeverri. She was one of Latin America's very first female combat pilots, and today she's soared even further by becoming Uruguay's first woman Air Force commander.
Uruguay's fighter jets can't break the sound barrier, but in her decade-long career, Major Echeverri has certainly crushed gender boundaries. Last year, the 38-year-old became the country's first woman Air Force combat major. After starting out as one of Latin America's first female fighter pilots in 2002, she now has taken over a career squadron of her own.
At first, I was going to go back to flying A-37 fighter jets, but command decided that I would go on to lead a linking squadron. It's the first time a woman heads a flight unit, a small one, but it's still the first time and it has been a real challenge.
Getting an all-male aviator squad on board with a female recruit wasn't easy. Echeverri was first ordered to cut her hair like a man, then to wear a uniform of heels and a skirt. Co-workers shunned her during the first years on the job. With time, however, colleagues accepted her as just another pilot. And when she became pregnant with her son, there were few problems, except, of course, being grounded.
During those 9 months when I wasn't flying, since I continued to work anyways, I did maintenance in Squadron 2. Every time the pilots walked to the planes, I said, this is so painful. It's so painful that they're going to fly because I couldn't.
Her promotion means Echeverry has quit flying fighter planes for now, but she enjoys a holy respect from her new squadron.
When we were at military school, we already knew there was a woman. She was an Alpha fighter jet pilot before, and we were like, wow, a female Alpha pilot. She must be pretty feisty, because it must be pretty difficult for a woman around fighter pilots.
Though she continues to work mostly with men, Echeverry now commands 2 female subordinates, a sign that her example has helped other women's careers take off as well.
And that's it for now. If you'd like to comment on what you've just seen, you can head to our Facebook page. That's France 24 51%, or do send us a tweet at _51%. Thanks for your feedback so far, and please keep those comments rolling in. Until our next program, bye for now.